Okay, the world's a stage, and everyone plays their part on it. Some knowingly, some unknowingly. So, but what does it all mean? And in the beginning of your journey, you'll be looking at the stage and trying to understand it all. And I keep saying, invert it, turn it inwards. And it's happening for a reason. And a duality exists, a duality of lower consciousness and a duality of higher consciousness. And the higher consciousness is increasing, but for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So those that increase in consciousness, there is an equal and opposite decrease in consciousness. So the balance is shifting. There's going to be more light, more darkness. And you can see this in the world, and you can see it manifesting on the stage, and you can see in what direction humanity is going. And this is why it's important that you walk away and you go within. So, I know you can all see this playing out, but that's playing out. It should play in. And you have to become your own self-fulfilling prophecy. Words are powerful. Words are very powerful, and they've been used to cast spells on people. But it's a lesser magic if you're in a state of low consciousness. And that's all they have is lowly and little spells. But if your consciousness increases, then so will your abilities. Now, it might sound all a bit woo-woo, but it is what it is. Now, spells can be used for good and they can be used for bad. It's one and the same thing. But which side of the spectrum do you want to operate on? Do you like what you see in the world? Do you like the oppressive nature that is being expressed in the world? If you do, then you have chosen. That's fine. But I imagine that the people listening to me or other channels will recognize that it isn't good and will walk in the opposite direction from it. So I've written a load of things down. Okay? And it's just bullet points. So things like GameStop, recycling, climate change, Corona, COVID, lockdown, stay indoors, social distant environment, trans agenda, government, reactionary, religion, money, society. And I'm just going to work through each bullet point and I'm going to talk about it. So GameStop. Okay. With regards to the reallocation of wealth from Wall Street to the little people. But don't get trapped by the desires of low consciousness, which still exist in all of us, money and wealth and things like that. Now, these things are useful tools. Remember, it is the love of money that is the root of all evil. So just guard yourself against that. There's nothing wrong with money. Okay, it's perfectly fine. So let's not be militant about things. Some I'm aware some of you still have to work, and as a result of still working, you still have to pay your taxes. I'm aware it's slightly different in America, where you can opt out, or there's some sort of legal loophole, I think. I'm not too sure, but in the UK, you're fucked because it's taken off you before you even see it. Thieves. So GameStop, it's time to stop playing games. Recycling, there's a big push on recycling everything. Yeah, because everything is going to get recycled. But what happens to something when it gets recycled? It gets broken down into its constituent parts, sorted and separated, getting rid of the rubbish to keep the valuable part. Okay, so recycling. turning that inwards, when you're looking at the world and you're considering everything and you're chewing the cud and then you're responding to the information that's been revealed to you. That's the process of recycling. But don't get caught up in the shit show, the pantomime. It happens inside. Climate change. Yeah, you look at the world, climate change, and there's a big schism. All the scientists are arguing, and the government are so using it as an excuse to tax people even more because you're such naughty. You're so naughty. But the planets are experiencing climate change as well. So it's not just related to this planet, it's planets in the solar system. Jupiter has started displaying aurora borealis in its poles. Saturn as well. So it's not limited to this planet. But the climate change within, the way you think about things, your emotional landscape, that's all changing. So, but with climate change, there needs to be environmental changes. The inner environment, about what you put into your body. Okay, so if it's being expressed outside, turn it inwards. What does that mean to you, the individual? It's teaching you something. Okay, so change the climate, clean up the environment. Don't worry about out there. That will be taken care of later. You can't do it on your own. It will be sorted out later. Do this first. Corona, the crown, the king's crown. COVID, it's the phonetics are the same. It means the divine present, or the divine presence, which is the set apart spirit, the Holy Ghost. Call it whatever you want. It's the comforter, the mother, which is the electromagnetic field, which your body is more than capable of generating when it's in a state of homeostasis, balance, or equity. Now, wasn't it funny that Jesus said, "Get away from me, you workers of inequity"? Unbalanced, not known, not knowing. Okay? Locking down, that's meditation. Staying indoors, going within, going into the upper room. Social distance, division. Don't worry about the masses. You walk on your own. That's what a clean animal does. It chews the cud and it parts the hoof. It goes away from the masses because it recognizes what's going on. The environment. Ment means mind, so we'll come back to that. Changing the environment within, so that's climate change, how your body produces energy, how it feels within itself, how in tune it is with nature. Is it picking up those vibes? And of course, with that goes a change of mind. The mind starts to realize and starts to see and hear. Space travel, going to Mars, and Elon Musk. You play with the letters of his name. It's no L. L is God, so no God's. Musk is scum. It's just an anagram. It's just so childish. Space travel. When you go within and you're meditating and you're in the darkness, is that not space? Are you not traveling in space, looking for your own light? Turn everything inwards. Yeah, this thing now, wash your hands. Remember in the Bible, the Pharisees gave Jesus a hard time for not washing his hands, and he was just like, fuck off, idiots. So wash your hands of the outside world. Okay. Hollywood in the last few years, female superheroes, and there's been a lot of the films that they fell flat on their face. And these films have obviously cost hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's not been done for no reason. There's always a higher reason for this. Generally, females have a different biological role, and they don't want to be seen as superheroes. They are less driven by such things. But so what So why was Hollywood doing that? It's the rise of the divine feminine, the COVID, the protector, the nurturer. Okay, so there are these feminazis, these fifth or sixth wave feminists that want to be superheroes. Well, yeah, fine, have fun with that. You know, it's just another illusion. So, you know, the feminine superhero is the Kundalini. You know, it's described. She's described as being feminine, and of course, the subconscious mind is feminine, and then she comes online. Sleeping Beauty is woken up, you know, and the seven dwarfs, you know, the seven chakras. So that's what's going on there. So again, turning the story, the folklore inwards, the mythology. It's all mythology. Equality. There's a big push in society to promote equality between the sexes. But there will always be inequality in the world when it's being ran by mankind's inferior, egoic, carnal mind. And the evidence of that is everywhere. Politicians flying around in private jets, having private parties and receiving payouts from lobbyists and big industry. So there's no equality there. The equality that you seek has to be within. It's that balance that I've already spoken about, that equity. Okay, so again, turn it inwards. Gender politics, or gender, or identity politics, like Black Lives Matter or rights for transgender and all the rest of it, which is all fine if you want to go down that road, but ultimately it's a waste of time. It's an expression of the subconscious mind playing out on the stage. But because their subconscious mind is like a whore, it's just the information isn't going to be presented very well. But for those with eyes to see and ears to hear, they will understand that they're not the body, they're not the mind. They are the unified field expressing itself in this reality. And when you tap into the nature of that, then you understand your own divinity. Okay? Of course, when you raise the energy and you have balance, then you will understand your own feminine and masculine nature in the form of electromagnetism, and it will express through you in many ways. And more often than not, you will surprise yourself about how direct you can be, quite vicious as well. But the other side of the coin is you'll also understand about how caring and nurturing you can be. So again, it's about the balance of the two, and it's all within. CEOs resigning. Last year, there's something like 2,000 CEOs of big global companies, and they're all stepping down. Jeff Bezos, who looks like Lex Luthor, stepping down later this year as the CEO for Amazon. And this is the power shift. I mean, are these people being bribed to step down behind the scenes by various intelligence agencies because they've got dirt on them? Highly likely. But it's a big game, isn't it? The world's a stage. It's a big game. And they're all stepping down. It's curious, that. They're talking about the Great Reset. Yeah, they're going to reset economics, reset politics. They're going to reveal each country's politicians to be on the take, to be filthy, and all the rest of it, and they'll get thrown on the dung heap by the populations, and then they'll usher in the one world government. It's the Hegelian dialectic. It's problem, reaction, solution. But first, they have to expose the government as being imbeciles. They're scapegoats. Okay, they will be scapegoated. So don't fall for that. The Great Reset. Anything mankind does is not in tune with nature. So, the Great Reset that they offer will appear to be wonderful and very beneficial, but it won't fool the elect. You know, the they're all talking about electric cars, electric this, electric that. Well, that's symbolic of the return of the Father, who brings with him the real reset. It's written that the Father is slow to anger, but it's coming anyway. Artificial intelligence, you know, the rise of AI algorithms on YouTube and Google and all the rest of it, so we're all aware of it. And it's far more advanced than we're actually witnessing at this moment in time. They're hiding that at the moment, which will be revealed as part of the New World Order shite. But of course, you have your own form of artificial intelligence inside you. Again, turn everything inwards. And that's your mind and the story you tell yourself. It's just a story. There's nothing wrong with it, but you've got to overcome it. The internet, another expression. You've got the internet, which could be turned off at any time, but you've also got the inner net. Right. The Platonic solids, Plato's 5 solids. You've got 5 senses. When everything is running as it should, when there's equity, those things kind of merge. And then you have a balanced, uniform, energetic structure. The 5 senses are used to provide information. So inside, formation. So the inside is information. Like the chakras are, symbolically speaking, the planets within. And they realign, and the energy can travel, and the information can flow properly to inform you. So it's to be informed within. Your DNA and your chakras and, you know, your 5 senses, they merge, they become one. If you put the Platonic solids on top of each other and looking down on them, it will look like various descriptions, a mandala, Metatron's cube, it will look like the tetragrammaton, the tree of life, and it encodes all the sacred geometry. And people study sacred geometry. Again, turn it inwards. You are looking at a bird's eye view from above or even from below, but of DNA. And it has the ability to collapse light inside it to produce a Birkeland current. And the information, which is you, DNA, the Word of God, God in the flesh, etc., etc., it has the information to produce a Birkeland current, which accelerates light to 2,000 million times the speed of light. Because light doesn't, it's a pulse, it's on and off, okay? So you accelerate that. And if your light is accelerated harder and faster, more than 186,000 times a second, but you've multiplied it by factors of millions, what effect would that have on your body? Okay. What clothes would you be wearing then? Get it? To turn everything inwards. The space agenda and aliens and all the rest of it, yeah, whatever. Again, turn it inwards. The trans agenda, the promotion of transsexuality. There are people that have gender dysphoria. I've got no particular problems with that because I know I'm not the body and I know I'm not the mind. But this is manifesting on the stage, as you know, like there was a wrestler, and she's now called Garby, and she's gone through the transition and everything else. Yeah, whatever. But it's to me, it's like an expression of the whore of Babylon. You know, like the confusion, the sexual confusion, the sexual energy. Are being expressed out there, so it's interesting. But again, it's like, you know, turn it inwards. You know, are there sexual issues within, or, you know, identity issues? That's what needs to be overcome. And again, that's why space travel, meditation is of so importance, because it clears all that out. And You don't have to do anything. It will be done for you. Okay. Government, being used to promote, or to set up the conditions for the Hegelian dialectic. Create a problem, control the reaction, and then provide a solution. So it's just bollocks. It's just pathetic. Religion's dead in the water. Where are all those Christians? Why aren't they out there saying this is satanic? Where are they all? Well, where are they? Worthless. Fucking worthless. Money, I've mentioned that. Society and culture, yeah, it's the same as it's a spin-off from religion. The law courts are based on the Ten Commandments and all the rest of it, and it's just all bollocks. Social media, where people can express their narcissistic tendencies. So, yeah, have it if you wish. I've got a Facebook page, but I post music on it generally. And there's me, obviously my page, and it's my Nikki and my brother, and that's it. I keep it very small because ultimately it's meaningless. A devolution of state power. All the structures that mankind has built is going to be de-evolved. It's going to be taken down, and they're going to build something new, a new Tower of Babel, a new Tower of Confusion. But those that are in a state of, a devolved mind, they are going into lower states of consciousness. They will think something like that is brilliant. And you won't be able to convince them of it otherwise. So, but your consciousness will evolve. This is conscious evolution, people. Okay. Nature is law. Cosmos means law, and it's natural law. And you're born with that. You know it. Okay, but man comes along with his laws. And look at governments. They make hundreds and thousands of laws every year. They regulate everything. You can't breathe. And now you have to wear your mask. Right. Wearing a mask, it's your persona. It's your ego. And everyone has multiple. You have your family persona. You have your work persona. And you all know this. And what they're telling you is to keep your mask on. But when you realize, when you have that shift in consciousness and you understand actually who you really are and who or what you really are, then it's difficult to hide behind the mask. And you won't wear that mask anymore. You'll take it off. And it's just, wearing the mask is a symbolic thing. Okay, so turn it inwards again. All right. Right, COVID, the loss of sense of taste and smell. In the book of Thomas, the character Jesus says, I can't remember what saying it was. He says that he will put, in the house, he will have 2 against 3 and 3 against 2. Now, in the house, you have 5 senses. And COVID, the divine presence, 2 against 3 is fucking up all your senses, causing more and more confusion. And you overcome all that by going within and meditating and cleaning your house. But if you look at COVID, I can't smell and I can't taste. It's like consciousness is, the divine presence is turning them off. You see, what they do. Whenever they do a mass ritual, like 9/11, they did an exercise where planes had been hijacked, and they run the exercise at the same time as the real thing was happening. So they're doing the exercise, which is the play, and then the play manifests in the real. And it's the same thing that's happening now, so it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. because the world's is a stage, that's how it works. But you've got to find your own way through the labyrinth. And when you're going about your day-to-day life, no matter how mediocre you think it is not. People will say things, they will do things. The position of signs, when you get glimpses of a word or a number plate, your eyes will be directed by your subconscious to reveal something to you, the individual, and you'll start to receive, you'll start to understand, because you're turning everything inwards, because everything happens in here, not out there. And that out there is the big distraction. That's the show, and everyone's watching it, which is okay, but you need to turn it inwards. And yeah, going within, meditating, and cleaning your house, raising that electrical energy within. And it all goes from there. I hope that helps people.